All right. I think we are live. Welcome to the 2019 Content Planning Workshop. So as I mentioned, this is going to be a super casual kind of like co-work shop. I've been calling it that because it's like we'll be co-working together. If you, if you were, if you opted in, you got the worksheet that we'll be working on for the next hour or so. We'll just kind of be working together and, accessing the worksheet and working on it a bit together. Now, I want to dive in. If we're not familiar with each other, my name's Anne Marie Rose, and I am a brand impact strategist and content marketing consultant. I work with small business owners who are looking to grow online in a more streamlined and less stressful way. I hope you to figure out exactly what you need to focus on and when, so that you don't experience all that crazy overwhelm that can happen when we just dive into the online space and think we need to do all of the things, which can easily happen because there's so much out there that we could be doing, but it's super important to get focused on what matters now, especially based on our goals. So hopefully you have at this point an idea of what your 2019 or at least the next 6 months are going to look like for your business, what kind of offers you're going to be promoting, what kind of things you'd like to launch, and what your just general business goals are for the course of the next year. Maybe you want to kind of shift your brand a bit. Maybe you want to reach a new audience. Whatever your bigger goals are for your business, maybe you have a couple of those in mind. That is important to get in mind before we get started actually planning out our content. So if you happened to catch me on Instagram the other day, I kind of went through, because I was experiencing, we were supposed to do this on Instagram, but we had some technical difficulties, and it was kind of tough to share. I couldn't share my screen. So we ended up doing the pre-work portion of what we're actually going to, that's related to what we're actually going to cover today. So I did want to just give you a quick rundown of what that looks like so that you can get those sort of key points in mind before we dive into actually planning out the content itself that we're going to be using. So using the worksheet that we're going to be using. So the first few things that you want to know, and we'll go through this briefly, is the first thing is you want to know what it is you're trying to communicate. So the general value, or if you can create just a blanket statement of what it is your business has to offer the world, you or your business. If you're a personal brand, you can think of it more as yourself. If you are, a brand, a company, maybe you are an e-commerce business, you can think more of your, your company itself, what you're offering the world. So think of whatever that is for you. Like I said, for me, I help small business owners to focus on what matters most in the process of growing their businesses online, so that they experience less overwhelm and more fulfillment in the process. So that's my general what it is I'm trying to share with people. And there's a second what that you want to determine. So your second what is what it is that you're actually offering, like the tangible thing that you're offering. And you may be a coach, a consultant, where you can't necessarily hold what it is people pay you for in your hand, but it's something that people can easily grasp the idea of what you offer, or if you had to summarize your products or offers, whatever that's going to be. So thinking about what those are for you, and maybe nailing down the top 2 to 3 that you want to focus on over the course of at least the next 6 months is going to be important for this particular workshop. So for me, I've got 3 consulting offers. One is a single session called the Impact Accelerator session, and we work through any hurdles that you're experiencing in relation to developing your brand or dealing with your marketing strategy. So that's a one-time session. And then I have 2 different experiences that are longer. One's 4 weeks, and that's my brand impact clarity offer. And that deals with getting super clear on your brand message itself, as well as refining your offers a bit and identifying your ideal audience. And then my next one is an 8-week engagement typically. And that's the content impact strategy offer. So that's marketing strategy, start to finish, everything's super streamlined. We get it all mapped out. And actually the worksheet that you're going to be doing today is like one little snippet of a section that we work through during the content impact strategy experience. So those are my three offers, my 3 what I'm going to be promoting over the course of specifically the next 2 months for sure. And it'll continue. It's just I may bring some other things into the mix after that. So for you, determine what it is you're going to be focused on promoting in your business, what it is you're going to be offering over the course of the next 6 months. So those are your two what's. What it is you want to share with the world from a messaging standpoint, and what it is you want to offer the world from a product or offer standpoint. And then your next thing that you need to determine before is who. Who are you trying to reach? So who is the ideal person to be purchasing from you? And then you also might want to think about who's that person who's maybe like 5 minutes behind that ideal customer or client, the person who maybe they just aren't as clear on their problem, or they don't quite understand your solution as well, because your content should be serving those people as well, so you can get a continual, your audience can continue to grow, and therefore your customer or client base can continue to grow, because your content can really communicate the solution that you offer. It can also help people to identify the problems that they're experiencing so that they become more quickly prepared to invest in the solution you offer. So your content can really take people on that journey from not being ready to buy to being ready to buy. That's the ideal, right? So thinking about not just that person who's ready to, give you their credit card number, hand you the cash to purchase your offer. Also thinking about that person who's a few steps behind them, who maybe just needs a little bit of educating, maybe a little bit of motivating in order to be ready to invest in the solution that your business offers. So that's your ideal audience member. So thinking about who it is you're trying to reach with the content that you're going to be creating over the course of the next year. Or I'm saying year because I say 2019 content planning, but it really is valuable to just think about it in terms of the next 6 months. Because if you're sitting down to create a whole year's worth of, or to plan out a whole year's worth of content, that can take a long time. And depending on what your business looks like, if you're looking to grow online, things change. And I know often our businesses change frequently and new opportunities can come up. Even if you're a big company, things can shift and change. So I find it to be more valuable to just plan in detailed for the next quarter, plan specifically so it can go on a schedule. It doesn't need to be all the details planned out, but schedule out the next 6 months and then have a rough idea of what the remaining 6 months might look like. So I know that, for example, my goal is to be promoting a course in the month of October. I'm not going to sit down and plan out all my content that I want to promote and create the images and go get them scheduled that are going to promote a course in October, because I'm sure I'm going to get much more clear on my messaging that I need to communicate when it comes to promoting that course and all that stuff through the process of actually creating it. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's super daunting. And then what happens if I get to October and maybe some other opportunity has come up and I've decided that's a more valuable opportunity than promoting a course? Then I've done all this work on the front end of the year and it doesn't make any sense. So that's what we're going to kind of do, is just think in detail or think about scheduling what we'd like to be sharing over the next 6 months and then getting a little more detailed for the next quarter. Okay, so who it is you're trying to reach, and then why it is you're trying to reach them. So this is another two-parter. So the what was a two-parter and the why is a two-parter. Why, there's your why, so that's in relation to your goals. So a good way to determine what your goals, your general goal should be when it comes to content marketing is it should be basically one of three things. You maybe need to grow your audience, you maybe need to engage your audience better, or you maybe need to focus more on converting your audience. Now, we obviously want all three of those things to be happening at any given point in your business. That's the ideal. But there's probably one of those areas that you need to focus on most. So if you got a pretty small audience, but you know that you need to make a significant number of sales this year, you probably want to focus on growing your audience. And maybe you have a nice size audience, it's just you're not getting a ton of engagement when, say, you post on Instagram or your email open rates aren't awesome. Then maybe focusing on engagement is going to be your ideal situation. And then conversion, obviously we want people to be converting, going to whatever it is we want them to go to after they consume our content. So if they consume an Instagram post, we want them to go to the link in the bio and go wherever it is we want them to go. Or if they're reading an email and we want them to click a link and purchase something, we want that to be happening. That's what's going to be happening on the conversion front. But it's super important to focus on having, you got to have people there to actually see the content, if any, or nobody's going to convert. If nobody's seeing it, nobody's going to convert. So if you don't have an audience, it doesn't make a ton of sense to optimize your conversions. But, and then even if you do have an audience, if they don't care about anything you're posting, they're certainly not going to convert either. So that's kind of the order of operations here. So determining which one you need to focus on most for your own business is going to help you to identify the right types of content to be posting. Okay, so that is the why part A, or part one. That's your why, and then their why. So this is going to help you, especially if you need to attract that audience or you need to engage that audience, which all of us need to be doing that. Even if we've got an audience that is engaged, continually refining our ability to do that is super important. So the why for other people is essential to consider. So why would your audience want to consume your content? Why do they want to hear from you? What are they maybe struggling with? What is your content going to help them do? So I know a big thing for my audience, they want to know how to focus on what matters. They don't have a ton of time to be spending, trying out all these new different strategies. They're interested in learning what is going to serve them now and really refining their focus. They want direct. I get people come up to me a lot and say, I love how direct you are, because I'm not going to mess around with all these different fluffy, fun, techie strategies that maybe aren't going to serve you. If I don't think that they're going to serve you, I'm not going to share them with you just for fun. Because I want to help you focus. There's so many options out there when it comes to literally everything in our lives, that narrowing it down to the options that align with your own creative preferences, your goals, what your audience wants from you. If we can figure out what's in alignment for considering all those things and focus our energy there, we're going to be a lot more successful in our marketing efforts and a lot less stressed in the process. So that is what I know my audience really wants, and that's why they really like to consume my content, because I help them to do that and help them find focus and less stress, less overwhelm, and more self-assurance in the decisions that they're making as a business owner overall. So identifying those key elements for you prior to us jumping into the actual content planning. Content planning is going to be important. If you don't have those decided yet, that's okay. Just jot them down and you can kind of see the process, and you're going to get a replay. So you can always come back and go through this once you've decided those things. So just a very brief recap. I have to remember now what it is you're trying to communicate to people. I could benefit from figuring that out, right? What it is you're promoting over the next 6 months, who you're trying to reach, why you're trying to reach them for your business, what is your business goal, what's the purpose of, why, meaning the purpose, the goal that is driving you to create content, and then why should your ideal audience listen to you, what value do they get out of consuming your content. So those are really the 5 things that you want to consider. Okay, moving on. I am going to start sharing my screen because we're going to talk through some of this content planning process. All right, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you can see it. I think we can. Let's just see here. And I've sort of colored mine differently. One quick note I realized when I was setting this up, there is no March. Sorry about that. Progress, not perfection, right? So just add March in on your own. You'll want to copy that document. So the link that you received, copy it to your own Google Drive, or you can download it and open it up in Excel. That's up to you. Whoops. I knew I was going to do that. All right, we'll just do this. So copy it to your own drive. And then you'll have it in your own drive. You can customize it as you want to. So you'll see I've changed the color of mine so that it's in alignment with my brand colors. And we're actually going to, once you add that in, this is perfect, because then you can pull this over here and you can actually change this column to platform. And you can totally customize once you have it copied to your drive. You can customize these columns to be whatever you want them to be. You can erase some, you can do whatever you want to do with these columns. It's totally up to you. like I said, I generally am using this. I want to make sure it's showing my screen, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. This is what I'm using when I am working with my clients. So a lot of them we help them to determine what kind of system for scheduling their content is going to be right for them over the long term. But we don't always know that right out of the gates. But we want to get their content planned either way. So this is just a great place to sit down and knock out a whole bunch of content planning without having to commit to a scheduling system because I'm working with multiple clients, lots of different clients who have lots of different preferences when it comes to those types of systems, or maybe they have teams that are involved. I don't try to create a system for them necessarily so much as create an effective and organized way for them to plan out the content, and then they can actually deal with scheduling it and fully creating all the components of each content piece on their own time. So we're doing more of the planning for different types of content here, but you'll actually go and create the full, images, videos, whatever it is that you need to do. You'll do that later. But this is just a great way to sit down and get a lot of content planned. Another amazing thing that you can do because you have this sheet is go look at your previous content. So we'll just use my platforms as an example. The platforms that I'm primarily on are Instagram and YouTube. And I totally forgot. We're actually going to start with this. Sorry about that. So this sheet is the sheet that you got. And then you can click down here, the editorial plan, and you'll be able to open it up. Be able to open up that sheet or download it so you can open it in Excel. That's how that works. And then the nice thing is once you copy it to your drive, if you want to, when you open this, when you edit this document, you can put the link into this little field right here. So I'm actually going to open this up in DocHub because I like to use DocHub for this. So DocHub is my go-to. I do not want to. We'll just create a duplicate. Okay, awesome. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do is just add in a little bit of a text box to remind you about the 4 things that we just talked about. So first you want to determine your message. And then we'll go 1A, 1B. How about that? Cool. 1B, you want to determine what you want to share. This is like the pre-work, right? This is offers. And then we've got 2 is who? Ideal audience. And then 3 is 3A. 3A is why. So why is basically your goals. And then 3B is why the value, why ideal audience. We'll just say ideal audience value. We'll just say that for now. Okay, but you get what I'm saying here. This is like the pre-work. This is what we just talked about. So I just want to make sure that we note that here. Okay, cool. So now that we've got that mapped out, that's fine. Okay. So make sure you have those determined beforehand. Now let's get into just determining. My guess is you already have a couple of these things determined for your own business, but it's really essential to know these, what all the pieces of the puzzle are going to be. That's the best way to say it, is what all the pieces of the puzzle are going to be when it comes to the marketing efforts that you're putting forward in your business. So for your social media, now I've come up with these terms just for reference that I like to use with my clients to help them to fully understand what each component of their marketing strategy does for their business, so that moving forward, if they decide to jump onto new platforms or they decide to take on new opportunities or try new strategies, they just understand the essential components, and then they can shift and change things from there And then they know that as long as they have this foundation in place, they always have a marketing strategy that's continuing to serve their business. So these terms are not necessarily marketing specific terms that you would be able to like Google, but they're what I've decided to reference these particular pieces of the strategic content marketing puzzle so that my clients can really learn and get empowered to make these decisions moving forward for themselves. So your social platform, that one's super easy. You actually can Google that. Social media. So where are you spending time on social media and being able to interact with your ideal audience? So that's the key thing here is you're actually there sometimes in real time interacting with people and having real conversations. I say that this is a place where you're starting and engaging in conversations with your ideal audience members. So for me, this is Instagram. I feel like I should make this maybe a bit bigger so that it's easier to see on my screen. So for me, this is Instagram. Okay, for you, it might be Facebook. For you, it might be Twitter. For you, it might be LinkedIn. Whatever it is for you, I want you to pick one that's like your main go-to place. So that's the other reason that I like to break it down this way is because you really can get away with, if you just have one key thing in each of these sections, you truly can grow your business effectively. It's just about getting focused and learning how to optimize your efforts on each particular platform. So let's move on. Your signature platform is where it is that you're delivering value on a consistent basis for your ideal audience members. So this is something like a blog, a YouTube channel, a podcast. There's probably potentially a Facebook group. The only thing is I really like to encourage people to have a signature platform that's public. So now, of course, Facebook will generally recommend groups for people, or Facebook groups can get passed around by if you've got a friend that's in there and it's like you got to check out this Facebook group. That is a great that can definitely grow your group for you. But the thing about a blog is you can share it on Pinterest and anybody can jump on and get access to that. Or you could for like Instagram, you can use hashtags and get discovered. On YouTube, it's super searchable, so you can get discovered that way. There's just a way for you to get more eyeballs on your business if it's a publicly accessible platform. So for me, this is YouTube. For you, like I said, it might be your blog. This is just where you are delivering value on a consistent basis. It may be a monthly blog. It may be a weekly, for me, it's weekly YouTube. For you, it might be a weekly podcast or a monthly podcast. Whatever it is for you, it's that place where people can expect you to consistently show up and deliver value. And if you don't have this place for your business yet, if you don't have a signature platform for your business yet, maybe just write down the, a platform that you'd like to start to experiment with this year. Maybe it is blogging, maybe it's podcast, maybe it's podcasting, maybe it's YouTube. And the biggest thing that I hear from people is they say, oh, I know I should be doing more XYZ, whether it's blogging, more video, more podcasts, whatever it is. I highly recommend you just focus, especially when it comes to your signature platform, on one key area. And another great option would be Facebook Live, maybe Instagram TV, anywhere that you're really delivering some robust value. So your social media platform, at least, for a lot of us that are personal brands, we're probably sharing little bits of personal related content, some things. We're not necessarily going deep on with like business tutorials every single post, and maybe you are, and that's fine. I just know for me, I'm a personal brand, and so for me, I'm sharing some personal aspects of what I'm up to, and then also some great business tips, some mindset tips, different things along those lines. So Instagram is kind of the place where you can get to know me. You can get to know the ins and outs of my business. You can get to know what I'm up to. It's a little more of a personal, social type content for me. And then on YouTube, I'm like, let's get down to business. We've got tutorials. We're going to go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And we're going to get you your problem solved and get you on your way. I'm not going so deep into, oh, here's what my life looks like. I'm not like vlogging or anything like that. And if you're doing that for your business, that's amazing. I just know that YouTube is that place where I'm going and answering commonly asked questions from clients and doing those things that I know are going to give people those quick snippets of help, and they're seeing me on video, like, or, you know, on across their screen, like they would be if we were on a consulting call on Zoom if they were my client. So I often also say that your signature platform should be that place where you can deliver value in a way that's reflective of the experience someone would get if they invested in what you offer. So you may be thinking, but what if I'm a clothing boutique? Well, maybe you have some great lifestyle images of people wearing your clothing that you could feature on a blog and share more about why the clothes are super awesome to wear for different types of occasions based on the images that you have from customers that you've had in the past, or friends that you know who've worn the different clothes from your boutique, and you've gotten some photographs. You can then feature those on a blog and explain a bit more about them and build a great following that way on a blog. So people who would be viewing the blog could then imagine themselves wearing those clothes that you offer. And so even though they're not trying the clothes on yet, they're still being inspired by what you're sharing, and they're getting a sense of what it would be like if they went and purchased your clothes. So like for me with YouTube, clients can watch my YouTube videos, or potential clients can watch my YouTube videos, and they see me across their screen, and they get a little bit of an idea of what it'd be like, what it would be like if they were to work with me, because we would also in general be on a video call. I would just be answering their specific questions. We'd be moving through a super structured process to get them towards their specific goal, but it is still pretty reflective of that experience. So hopefully that makes sense. And you can at least, if you don't have a signature platform yet for your business, you can at least write one down that you'd like to start experimenting with the course of this next year. Okay, commitment point. This is what most people would call opt-in, lead magnet, freebie. Something that takes someone, that when somebody moves past the commitment point, they go from being just an audience member to a potential client or customer. So this is generally where someone's going to give you their email address or some other form of information about themselves that is almost like a symbolic raising of the hand, them saying, I'm interested in what you offer. So for me, this is a quiz. I have one quiz at the moment. I plan on very soon releasing another quiz that I'm really excited about. So for me, this is a quiz. And my current quiz is called the Content Impact Quiz. You can take it if you like by going to contentimpactquiz.com. And what it does is it gives you an identity that reflects how it is you can best utilize content for your business. And it also gives you a mini content strategy. So that is the quiz that I have right now. So I know that if somebody, for example, sees an Instagram post of mine, and I mentioned that people can go take the Content Impact Quiz in that Instagram post, and then somebody goes and takes it, I know that person isn't just someone who enjoys following me on Instagram, because the reason they may enjoy following me on Instagram may not be because I help business owners grow online. They might be someone I just know from high school. It might be somebody who, I don't know, it might be somebody in San Diego, another business owner in San Diego who would like me to work with them, so they're following me. It's, people can follow you for a million reasons. It might be my grandma. It could be anyone, but I know that if someone is going from an Instagram post to go take my quiz, and they're going to take the time to take the quiz and put their email address in, I can reasonably assume that they are very interested in growing their business online and using content to do that, and getting intentional about the way that they're using content to do that. So that's reasonable for me to assume. And that's what you really want to make sure that whatever, and I'm going to just put in parentheses so that for your sake, that this is like, a lot of times people refer to this as a freebie or a lead magnet or opt-in. I can't type. Okay. Opt-in, that's like the technical terms for these things. Commitment point is really just how you want to think about it. So because a lot of the mistakes that people make are along the lines of creating some sort of great free content that people need to give their email address to receive. But what the problem is it doesn't relate to what the actual paid offer is. So an example of this would be if I did, Trying to think. Why can I not come up with an example? Okay, a health coach for moms. If you're a health coach for moms and you put out a travel tips guide for your hometown, like a free ebook guide, traveling on a budget with kids. Okay, it may attract moms, but you don't know that mom is interested in her kids, in being healthy herself, or struggling with her own health and needs a health coach, right? So travel tips for moms, while that may be interesting, great content that a lot of people would be interested in, it doesn't relate to health coaching related offers for moms. So we need that health component would need to be there. Another something that could work in that instance would be an ebook guide all about staying healthy on family vacations. Like how I'm like not in my copywriting brain right now. So, healthy eating tips, healthy family eating tips, e-guide or something for when you're traveling. I'm in strategizing mode, not in creative mode so much at the moment, but that's the idea, right? So for my particular, if you entered your email to join me right now, this is another great example, right? You raised your hand and said, I'm interested in having some help getting focused and planning out my content for the year because I want to stay focused. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I want things to be streamlined. So you symbolically raise your hand by entering your email address in to receive this worksheet. And if you wanted the link to the replay and all that, then that was you're making a commitment that you are, I guess, a potential client or customer for me, rather than just an audience member who's happening to see this passing by, either on YouTube, or maybe if you were over, not you, because you're actually here, but if, let's say you saw a post about this on Instagram and you just kept scrolling, you're still an audience member of mine, but maybe not a potential client or customer because you didn't take that next step to say, oh yeah, I'm interested in planning out my content for the year, and I would love your help getting organized in that process. So that's the idea here with your commitment point. And it's really important, especially if you want to grow online, that you have something in this spot in your own content strategy, because you need to know this is why a lot of people struggle. They'll say, oh, I don't sell anything from Instagram, or I don't sell anything, like my Facebook posts aren't doing anything, and I'm posting a ton on social media, but it's not growing my business. Well, if you don't have this place where people can almost cross that line in the sand and say, yeah, I'm interested in what you offer, which is like giving you their email address, then it's very difficult to know if the people you're speaking to are the right types of people. So having this commitment point to send people to is essential. And of course, you can do this. You want to be sending people to this commitment point from both your social platform and your signature platform, and making sure to include call to actions that drive people towards that commitment point, whatever it is for your business. Maybe it's a free guide, free video series, a quiz, anything along those lines. Maybe it's joining a Facebook group, but you need people's email address to be able to, give them access to join. That's another great example of a commitment point. But you just want to make sure that whatever it is, whatever content exists at that commitment point is very valuable to your ideal audience members. And it also is reflective of or related to the paid offers that you have available in your business, so that you know that the people who are actually making that, symbolic commitment to becoming a potential client or customer, they're doing so from the right headspace because they're expressing interest in something that relates to your paid offers. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so determining what that is for you. And like I said, if you don't have one, maybe brainstorm a couple quick ideas, and then you can dig into those more once we are done here. And I would make a goal for yourself. If you're missing any of these spots here in this worksheet, I would definitely recommend that being your goal number one. Goal number one is to have these all in place before you ever worry about ramping up your content plan. So maybe just if you've got a social platform, maybe do as much as you like a little bit of work, spend an entire day figuring out how we're going to automate what's happening on that social platform so you can get all these other components taken care of and focus the majority of your time and energy on finishing out this entire worksheet with actually putting these steps into place, actually putting these pieces in place for your business. That's super important so that you know that all that great brain power that you would put into creating amazing social content, it now has a lot more potential to grow your business if you have all these pieces in place. So making sure that you have all these pieces in place first is super important. I probably should have given that little spiel once we wrapped it up, but it's all good. Communication plan. So the most common thing this would be is like your email funnel or something that happens after somebody makes that commitment, after somebody becomes a potential client or customer. What happens? How do we move them closer or help them to find out if investing in what you have to offer is the right decision for them? So for me, this is an email funnel that I'm in the process of revamping. You can get all fancy dancy with how you communicate with your leads, your potential clients and customers once you know they're interested in what you offer. You could set up messenger bots. You could do all kinds of crazy stuff. But the simplest way is definitely an email funnel. Or maybe for your business, it might be if you're a local business, like I don't know, I know this is common with like those like med spas or even, what do you call it? Like home service providers. So like say you do audio visual tech for homes or something. Someone would be, that commitment point might just be filling out a form for a free consultation. And then that communication plan could be over the phone. It just depends on your business. So sometimes that communication plan happens over the phone. I would say the most common for business owners looking to grow online would be an email funnel that's generally would be referred to as like a welcome series. So you want to be familiarizing people even more with, sometimes it's their problem, helping them to understand their problem even better, relate to their problem, and then open their eyes up to additional solutions that are usually, going to be your offer, but providing extra value. So let's, I'm going to put value-driven welcome series because you don't just want to immediately start selling people stuff in most cases. Although one, quick tip for you, I'm going to like get comfy here. Well, a quick tip for you, if you, let's say you have a free download that people can come from your Instagram, they can come from your YouTube, they'll grab your free download, and then you've got an email funnel set up that's like, gives them their free download and tells them a little bit about how to use it. You can totally in that first email or, the email that delivers them, whatever it is that you have to offer them, you can add a PS. Now it's different in different systems. So maybe that it's the second email that goes out to them, but at some point in your welcome series, it's okay to put a PS and say, hey, by the way, I have XYZ to offer. If that's something that you're interested in, click here. And then sending them directly to a sales page or, to view your different products. That's totally fine because I tend to be kind of impatient. And if I'm interested in getting a solution, I almost always want to get it as quickly as possible. So I personally take advantage of those PS offers pretty frequently. So if that would resonate with your audience and that would make sense with what you offer, that's not a bad idea to include. You just don't want to follow up right after someone asks for some value from you. You probably don't want to follow up with like a 600 word long sales email. Get kind of warming them up, building that relationship, just like you would if you were to meet somebody at, an event and maybe you connect over the fact that you have similar goals for 2019. You probably wouldn't right away say, oh, by the way, I'm a graphic designer and you said that you're working on your website. Here's all my information about my packages and we should work together. And here you go. It's $5,000 for me to work with you on your website. You would probably, if you felt like you guys vibed and that you could build a nice relationship, you'd probably share a bit more about yourself, share how you relate to them, and even give them an opportunity. Obviously, if you're in person, you'd give them an opportunity to respond to you. That's always a great idea in email too. You could ask people to hit reply if they have questions or to just stay engaged. So definitely, or if you have say you are someone with a really large email list, so asking people to hit reply may open a can of worms. Always let them know where they can engage with you. Maybe that's over on Instagram. Reminding them how they can stay engaged with you in a more intimate way is awesome. So, I'm like talking a lot here. So that's your communication plan, is really how do you move them from that commitment point all the way to being ready to invest in what you offer. Generally going to require a combination of motivational and educational content. But this is why knowing your audience is so important, and because it's going to allow you to then determine what do they need to hear from you when. And you don't need to get this perfect, it's all well and good to go create a whole like life story for your ideal audience or your ideal customer avatar and map out every little detail of his or her life. But in reality, you really just need to know a few key details about who it is that you can best serve with what you offer, what it is they need, how it is they think about their problems, so that you can then speak most directly to their current mindset in your content across the board, whether it's on social, it's your signature platform where you're delivering some really high value content that they can access for free. That commitment point content with like your lead magnet, your freebie, something that's a little bit almost transformative in nature. It can take them from maybe totally not understanding the issue they're experiencing to understanding it and maybe having like a little mini solution to help them out. And then that communication plan that gets them to dive a bit deeper and understand the ins and outs of what it takes to fully solve their problem or fully realize their desires. That is sort of the flow of how things go here. And you just definitely want to be making sure that your content is going to resonate with that ideal audience member on all those fronts and throughout that journey. So now that you understand that and you have those pieces of the puzzle at least brainstormed, remember, if you don't have these in place for your business, you want to make sure that you prioritize getting those things put in place before you go nuts on the content planning front. So, because like I said, you can plan a whole bunch of content, you can take a bunch of great photos to share on Instagram, but I'm trying to scooch up here. Okay, I'm like sitting on my knees. Okay, but if you don't have all these pieces in place, then people don't have the potential of that content is a lot less. The potential of that social media content, or even if you're creating a lot of great content for YouTube, if you don't have places to send them, places to really go deeper other than just a sale that you want to make, you're really not going to reach your fullest potential when it comes to growing online. So in most cases, so I would highly recommend having all these pieces in place for your business. By the way, if you're an e-commerce store, a commitment point for you can often just be like a free offer, like 15% off or buy one, get one free. E-commerce, that can generally be a great commitment point for you. It doesn't always need to be like a guide, although it can be. Using content marketing to grow e-commerce businesses is super smart. But I just wanted to mention that some sort of a discount or limited time offer is typically a solid commitment point for you in that case. For service providers, or if you have a service-based business, I don't always love that type of a commitment point. It depends, but in most cases, if you are a B2B service provider like myself, generally not going to be the best type of commitment point, because just the clients that you will tend to attract if you do that, if you offer, 50% off or something as your opt-in, is generally you're going to be undervaluing yourself if you do that. So it's better to provide additional value in your commitment point rather than discount your current value that you provide through your services. So just wanted to make that note. Now you can go ahead and click your editorial plan. It should be working fine now. The editorial plan, copy it to your own drive or downloaded it, and you can open it up in Excel. If you do copy it to your own drive, that's going to have a new link. That's why I have this fillable section here so that you can actually add in your link to your actual document. So I'm just going to put link here because I have mine all ready to go. All right, so we are in it now. Now you know all the essential components to that you need to be planning your content for. Now, if you've already got a really solid lead magnet at the commitment point and you already have your email funnel mapped out or some sort of communication plan that's happening after somebody opts in and passes that commitment point, if you already have those things done, then you don't need to plan for those. But you definitely can, and there's actually some places for you to do that here. You can just brainstorm some ideas here, and then you can actually map out your communication plan on this sheet as well. I didn't even really mean to include these in the sheet, but I did because they're automatically in here because it's what I use with my clients. So now what you want to do is just start thinking about if you have key objectives and goals for your business on a month-to-month basis. Now, let's just say, for example, if you're going to host a big live event, that would be a good example. Let's say you're hosting a big live event. Actually, I can use myself. I do have a goal of doing an event by May. Actually might be June, but so live event. Mine's gonna be workshop style, but a little bit larger than 12 people. It might be more like 20 to 40 people. So live event or workshop. So yeah, I actually I'm gonna move it to June because I actually really like doing that. It may end up being May, but it's okay. So workshop. And I hate when it doesn't overflow, so I just want to, whatever. All right, live event / workshop. That's a key objective. I know here, launch mini courses. And over here, launch courses. This is for me. So, or just my bigger course launch. It's like my signature course that I want to do. Oh, and another one. So I know there's also spots for what you're going to be launching, what you're going to be promoting, all that. But these I know for myself are key objectives and goals. And what you want to be thinking about there are, so I'm actually going to move these. Sorry, I'm thinking out some of this stuff. I told you it was going to be casual and I was going to be doing it along with you. So the reason that you kind of want to be mapping out what it is you're going to launch. So when I say launch, that means it's going to be available for sale, right? My mini courses, I'm going to have 2 of them. I'm 99% sure that's going to be the case. I'm going to have 2 of them, and they're going to continually be available for people to purchase, but the first time they're going to be available is in March. So I will do a bigger promotion for them in March because they're going to be coming out for the first time. And this is also going to be something that's happening for the first time. And it can be, when I say launching, it means either something that's brand new or something that's time sensitive, only available in a specific window of time. So that is what's happening in those spaces. So the thing is that this workshop is probably going to be more about brand messaging than it is going to be about marketing strategy. So the key here is with your key objectives and goals, if you know that your audience needs to understand something more, or you know that, let's say, maybe you need a bigger audience. So for example, if you want to sell a course and you want to make a certain amount of income with that course, or you want to serve a certain number of people with that course, you may need to focus on growing your audience like way back here in the year so that you'll have a large enough audience to promote that course to. That makes sense. So that's sort of what the key objectives and goals is, to be able to strategically think about, okay, what needs to happen for me to successfully launch this course, for me to successfully fill up this live workshop, for me to successfully launch this signature course. Then I kind of know, okay, here's what my content needs to be doing for my business in these months surrounding it. So like promoting sharing the benefits of the course in March is going to be essential. In January, February, it might be attracting more people who might potentially be interested in that course, or even getting feedback that can help to inform me in the process of creating these courses. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to put feedback, testing, content, because that's really kind of where I am at the moment, is testing out content that might end up falling into these mini courses. So, and then in February, we'll focus on audience growth. And I can add numbers to this later. I'm not too much of a numbers person, so I might need to run that by my business partner, aka my husband, who is a numbers guy, because I can't strategically plan this out and start thinking about numbers at the same time. So I'll just put grow audience. That may be, we'll get more detailed on that later after I wrap this up. And then key objectives and goals. I'll say sell mini course, but again, I'll add numbers to this later because I don't have set numbers at the moment. So that's kind of the idea here. Is you can see how we've done this, right? So I'm testing out some content right now. That's the focus of a lot of the content that I'm sharing at the moment. So just testing out some different content, getting myself more familiar and comfortable with sharing some different types of content that I might be interested in including in my mini course, seeing what resonates with people, getting feedback, that sort of thing. So I'm testing that stuff out now. And then February, I'll focus once I've kind of determined, okay, here's what's going to go in my mini courses. Now I'm creating those on the back end. And then I'll be focusing on, when it comes to my content, on really growing my audience. So I'll probably, for example, for YouTube, really focus on getting really strategic about the keywords that I'm using in my titles so that my videos are super searchable. On Instagram, maybe I will do some sort of, what do I want to say? Maybe I could do like a giveaway or something that would help to grow my audience on Instagram. There's a million different things, but determining these objectives and goals is also going to help you, because once you get really super clear on what it is you're trying to do with your content, it's easy to come up with content ideas. So as long as you know your subject matter and you know the things that you want to be sharing on social, then all you need to do is fill in that gap of what kind of content is going to make sense based on your goals. And much of that is searchable. So if you know you want content that's going to grow your Instagram audience, you can Google content that best type of content to share to grow your Instagram audience, and you can get a ton of different great ideas about how to share your message strategically to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish. So what you need to know are those two. It's almost like a sandwich. Top bun, bottom bun. Bottom bun is your message. That's like the essential thing. If you're not sharing anything that's worthwhile for people to hear, you might as well not be sharing anything at all. So that bottom bun is important because you want to, and I'm like saying, I'm picturing a hamburger. I don't even eat hamburgers, but a veggie burger. And so you're making your veggie burger, and that bottom bun is the essential message that you want to be sharing with the content that you are putting out there. So that's essential. And then that middle stuff is the strategy, right? And the top bun is the goal, which makes everything complete. It brings everything full circle. So that middle part is what I like to call Googleable. Sure, you can work with somebody like me who can help you quickly to identify those strategies that make sense for you to focus on, and then help you to figure out the best way to execute them in a way that feels authentic, that isn't stressful, that's streamlined. Maybe you can reuse some content that you've already created. We can do all that stuff. But you can also go find a million different ideas for a strategy that's going to serve your goal. But you have to start out knowing that message you want to share, and you got to know the goal. So as long as you know those two things, you can find answers, and you can find great answers, and you can narrow down the possible options that are out there that are right for you. So if you just start searching how to grow my Instagram, but you don't have any idea of the message that you're wanting to share or why on earth that you're wanting to grow your Instagram, you're probably going to be putting out watered down content, or content that is not going to gain as much traction because it's maybe a really broad range of topics you're talking about that aren't connecting as much with the ideal people you're trying to connect with. And then you will hit that hustle phase of like you're continually trying to grow. But if there isn't a serious goal in mind, you'll hit burnout a lot faster. So as you can see, even though I'm going to be trying to grow my audience in February, I'm going to move on to promoting my course, and that's not going to be the only thing happening with my content, obviously, but that's going to be a key focus for me. So I'll move on to selling my course, and that's not going to be a time where I'm really focused on growing my audience. Of course, I have these systems set up so that I'll still probably be growing my audience, but I'm not going to be obsessed with audience growth at that time. The thing I'm really going to be focusing on as I'm creating my content is selling those mini courses or launching the mini courses. If that makes sense. And I'll plan out the rest of mine for really up to June. But you can do this for your own business. The key things to know here are that you want to have mapped out anything that you'll be launching that you know is new. And like I said, you may just want to do this up to like June and then revisit it back in June. You can set a calendar reminder now so that you remember to come back to it and finish it out. Then what you want to do, promoting, same thing. So for me, this is consulting offers, same thing, same thing, and mini course here. So meaning I might share like an Instagram post or two about these things. I'm not typically posting saying, hey, if you want to work with me in one of my consulting offers. It's not something I say too often, like on Instagram, for example, but I will make mention of that sort of stuff. So it just a big thing to note here is if there's something you definitely don't promote at specific times of the year, then you would obviously leave them off. And let's say you are again, a health coach, and you've got some special stuff that you do in the summer to keep people accountable, even as you're traveling and that sort of thing. You're probably not going to be promoting that in October. So that would be something that you would be promoting. Mini courses. And then the mini courses will sort of start to promote itself eventually. But I'll do this, and then we'll say consulting offers and event. And same thing. And I'll probably wind down on promoting my consulting offers here towards like October, probably be the last month I'm talking much about them, because then I'll really it'll be all about my signature course. And I also am going to do probably a group program, like, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure when the group program is going to start, so I'm just going to leave that off, but I'm actually going to just make myself a note. I know that's something that I want to do. So, I just don't know when it's going to launch yet. So that's sort of the idea here is I know that I'll probably focus mostly on signature course right around here. This one will be, and let's just say maybe it's group program. Consulting offers and group program. And then this one probably actually do this. All right. And then this one's going to be group program also. And then I'll start to back off, and it's going to be all about my course. Anything that any sort of sales or promotional content will be more about the course. So signature course, signature course, signature course. All right, cool. So, and then December, I'll fill that out later. Events. So if, let's say you're going to be speaking at a specific event, or you're going to host like this, I could consider this an event. So we'll say 2019 planning workshop, which was sort of a last minute idea that I just had. So 2019 planning workshop, this is an event. Obviously I want to be planning more things out. So we'll probably do like online workshop. I might be speaking in April. I'll just put speaking for now. But I might put, I could put the particular event. So I'm not going to get too deep into this, but you can see if there are specific events coming up, if for your business, I used to do health coaching in college with Beachbody, and they do like a summit every summer. And so maybe that's an event that I want to make note of, because I know I'd like to create some content around that, something like that. That's not something I would do now because I no longer do that. I still love their products, but I don't do health coaching anymore. But that's an example there. If there's an industry event. I am attending something called Marketing Impact Academy. So I don't know, it's not my event, but maybe I would want to post some content about that. I know a lot of my audience members know of that event. So I'll just say MIA. It's not my event, but it's a great reminder that you have that coming up. It might be a great time to create some content. And you also might mention like in your events, or you may want to even add, depending on your brand, you may want to add another row where you could put like vacations or trips or travel and write that down, because then you could plan to take some great photos to use in your content. Or maybe it's a great time to collaborate if you're going to be traveling and you want to find people to collaborate with on videos or have some live podcast interviews. This is really it's totally customizable and you can use this however you want. So that's all that I'm going to do for now, because holidays, my business isn't super impacted by holidays. Maybe yours is. If that's the case, mapping those out as well. I should probably list those out so that I don't do too much holiday related content on my social media, but that is a great way to get a lot of traction on social media. So if that's relevant for you, then go ahead and map out those holidays. Now, moving on, we are already at 5 p.m. So I'm glad we got this part covered. We're going to keep going for about 15 more minutes and plan out some content. But this is I'm telling you, the essential thing, the essential step, because once you have this figured out, then you can look at all the types of topics that you could cover when it comes to your social media. And you can even look back at, if you've got, say you're on Instagram and you use Instagram, you have a business profile, which if you're in business, you should have a business profile. And you can look at your insights and see your top performing posts over the past year. And then you can see like, what were the general topics you were talking about? Write those down. And then you can start to see where those topics will fit in through your calendar year. And you can create new content that's similar. You can even repurpose some of your older content to save you time. So marketing themes here, by the way, you want to come up with those different themes for your business that you're going to be talking about a lot, right? So like I mentioned before, was focus, productivity, self-awareness is actually something I talk about quite a bit, because I find that I'm actually just going to write these down just on my notebook here, but you may want to come up with a list of like 10 different themes that make sense for you to be talking about in your business, or 10 different topics. So if you had to just do this here. So if you put like your business in the middle, I'll put biz for now, but like one of these like webs almost like you made in, elementary school. And if you can see that, and then you can write out different topics that make sense for you to cover in your business. So one thing for me is also like tools and systems, really getting into the nitty gritty of like how to get things done is something I know my audience is generally interested in. Kind of like quick fix strategies, little like things they may be missing when it comes to their marketing that might take 5 minutes to fix or 5 minutes to change that. Yet they may see a huge impact on the results. One example of this would be using a customized URL for your lead magnet that's at your commitment point. So whatever that free thing is, that free bit of value that people are going to want to give you their email address in exchange for, having a customized URL, like how I said earlier, go to contentimpactquiz.com. That is a URL that I've purchased that drives people to my quiz. And that's really easy for me to say, instead of having like annemarierose.com /take my quiz today /4321 or something like that. That's a lot more complicated, but I do know a ton of people who have those big long URLs for their lead magnets or to drive people to their blog posts or whatever. Not to say you need a custom URL for all your blog posts, but it's just, if it's somewhere that you're going to want to be driving traffic to, having a customized URL. That was a total side note, but that's an example of the type of content that is a good topic for me to share. Just like those quick 5-minute tips that are like almost, what do you want to say? Like, they're not hacks, but I guess for our purposes, I'll just say optimization hacks. That's really what that is. It's like optimization. Yes, you can get away with having all the crazy URLs to some degree, but you're really going to take things to the next level when you do these little optimization hacks. Optimization hacks is one. Self-awareness, I mentioned that earlier. Self-awareness is a big one. I am a personal brand, but I also find that my ideal audience, my favorite clients and customers, they're interested in personal growth, they're interested in becoming more self-aware, and they have some amount of self-awareness enough to know that if I suggest a certain strategy that isn't going to be a good fit for them, like for example, if there's someone who absolutely hates writing, and I say, well, have you tried blogging? They'll know enough about themselves to say, I absolutely hate writing, and I would prefer another way of, accomplishing this content goal than me having to sit down and write all the time. I want them to know that about themselves. They don't need to know every detail of how it is they like to create things, but they're actively working to become more self-aware and gain more self-awareness so that they can make decisions that truly align with what they want in their business. So that's another one that I know is, and I can do self-awareness and personal development, I guess. So those kind of fit together. Do those directly relate to not necessarily content marketing, but I think to brand development? I'm working with primarily all founders of businesses that it's their business, it's their baby, they're the CEO or the solopreneur, it's theirs. So they want their business to be reflective of who they are as a human. So that personal development aspect really does tie into very much to the brand development component of what I do. Even though it may seem like it doesn't totally connect, for me, I completely see how it does. So bringing that into the mix when it comes to my content is important to me. Now, there could be some other things that totally don't relate so much to what you offer, but just allow people to connect with you connect with you better. For me, trying to think of what those things would be. Oh, fitness. So I don't offer anything that's fitness related. You can come in. We're just casual. We're just hanging out. So you can actually turn some lights on too. That would be awesome. What? Well, I'm still doing my workshop. I'm almost done. You're fine. All right. So what do we got going on here? All right. So another one would be like fitness and healthy lifestyle stuff. That's a very big component of just me, and it helps me to connect. It doesn't have anything to do with what I do necessarily, but I do tend to attract people who also value fitness, lifestyle, things like that, because, or just we can speak the same language about that stuff, but we have mutual interests. It's kind of like, like if you walk into a room full of strangers, you might gravitate towards the people who look similar to you, or gravitate towards the people who are eating the same thing on the table of food that you're eating, because you have that common. That's how fitness and wellness are for me. It's a huge component of who I am, but it doesn't really have much to do with my business per se, but it has a ton to do with me, and me as a person I am my business. So it makes sense for me to bring those personal components into the mix when it comes to my content. Now, I'm not going to create a YouTube video necessarily, at least not right now, about, my 5 favorite workouts. But eventually I may see if I could come up with a creative way to weave fitness into the mix there. Right now, for me, YouTube is very much the place where I am to the point helping people to figure out those complicated, to wrap their mind around those complicated marketing topics and make smart decisions for their business on how they're going to develop their brand and grow their business with content marketing. That's the purpose that channel is serving, and less to showcase my personality, but I'm going to be bringing that into the mix more and more. So I might be able to think more creatively about how I could bring these more personal components of myself into my personal brand over on YouTube. I'm already doing that on Instagram, but doing that on YouTube might be something for me to consider down the road. So I'm going to put fitness down. Having about, 8 to 10 different sort of topics that you want to cover in your content, whether that's on social, on your signature platform, having 8 to 10 topics that make sense for you to talk about in some capacity when you're in a business-like setting, on or offline, is a great idea. And then you can kind of determine how you want to, which one of those is going to drive the conversation, or which couple of them is going to drive the conversation on which platforms. So like I said, I'm pretty business forward on YouTube, but over on Instagram, you're going to get a mix of all of these. And then when it comes to my that commitment point content, I'm not really talking so much about tools as I am about I'm giving content that's really going to get people focused and help them to identify the strategies that are right for them. So that's when I go deeper into the strategy stuff and teaching my own framework for brand development and content marketing. So that said, I'm just going to even put this down. Maybe we start bringing some personal stuff into the mix on YouTube. Personal and storytelling on YouTube and everywhere else, because I've got this live event coming up and that group program. So I want people to start to feel like they really know me, or, actually get to know me, not feel like they know me, but if I'm sharing more stories and getting more personal on across the board on these platforms, people are going to actually get to know me. And then, hey, they're probably going to, if they feel like they're connected with me and that we have a lot of, they feel like they would get along with me, then they're probably going to want to come spend some time with me at a workshop or potentially join my group program. That's going to really benefit me. So that would be a theme for me around this time, so that I can start to do more of that and to build deeper connections with my audience members. Marketing themes over here. I'll build those out a little bit more for my own business, but some of those for sure. This one planning has been a big theme for me this month. And then next month, I'll probably get more into marketing versus messaging, which I know what that means for my own business, because my 2 ideal audience members, kind of got 2 of them. One is the very marketing savvy, analytical minded person. And then the other one is the super creative, passionate business owner. Both of them business owners, but we've got the marketing savvy, analytical business owner, and we've got the creative, super passionate business owner and generally they have unique strengths. So the analytical person, numbers focused, they have the person that loves a to-do list, and they are awesome at executing the different strategies that they hear, but the substance of the content that they're including when they're executing those strategies sometimes falls flat with their audience, because the communication skills and deeper understanding of their ideal audience may not always be there. And then on the flip side, the creative-minded, passionate business owner is perhaps not as great at, or generally tends to be when I'm working with my clients, I see this, that super creative ideas person, incredibly passionate about their subject matter of whatever their business offers. However, they don't always understand all the pieces of the marketing puzzle, so they struggle to fit those pieces together and to optimize their marketing efforts. So they are awesome at creating a ton of content, and really, their audience tends to be pretty engaged with them. They just don't know how to move their audience member from point A to point B so that they start making more sales in their business. So why I love doing what I do is because I tend to be a middle ground between those two, is I understand all the pieces of the marketing puzzle, yet I'm super creative and passionate and I have a lot of ideas, but I can very easily rein in the person who's getting distracted by all the ideas, and I can very easily help the super marketing focused doer to add some heart into their communications. So that is what I know I need to articulate better in my content over the coming months, because my mini courses are going to focus on those 2 particular topics, is that marketing optimization and all the pieces of the puzzle, and the messaging and brand messaging that truly connects with your ideal audience. I'm going to cover those 2 topics separately and help the people who need them to find the right, that missing link in their business. So the marketing person, I want to help them to find that that compelling message, and I want the super creative, passionate business owners to find that all the pieces of the marketing puzzle and put them in place in a way that feels streamlined and not stressful. So that's what I'm going to start talking about a lot more in February. So I'll map out all the rest of those, but that's sort of the idea here, is finding those themes that it makes sense for you to be talking about, and mapping out when it makes sense for you to be talking about them. And like I said, you don't necessarily need to have a seasonal component to your business, but right here, like I said, I'm going to focus more on that personal storytelling, bringing that into the mix more right before I'm about to offer some very personal types of offers, like workshops, group programs, things like that are going to require people to spend a significant amount of time with me. So I want them to get to know me a little bit better. I'm going to do more personal storytelling right before that. Yeah, so you can map that all out. All right, I said 15 more minutes. We're going to go 15 more minutes. 15 more than what I said. Okay, so here is where, like I said, you can, this is just your place to plan out your content for, you're just planning it out. We're not going to here, but this is just a great place to kind of get a good plan in place. And I want to show you each of the sections or what kind of matters here. And you can organize this however you like, but we're just going to do, for example, let's just go 1, 12, 19. I wonder if I drag it down, is it gonna? Okay, it's gonna give me a day by day. Okay, that'll work. So, but let's just say actually, so this is a Tuesday, right? Yep. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna do this one twice. So, because I know that I'm actually gonna have an Instagram post that day and I'm actually gonna have a YouTube post that day. But here, I'll probably just do Instagram, Instagram, Instagram. And let's say tomorrow, maybe I'll do, tomorrow will be a recap. So planning recap. I'll maybe recap some of the steps. And I'll maybe make the replay available if people want to grab it. Then I'll just do some sort of planning recap. And well, that would actually go over here. Whoops. Here, so that's the topic of in my Instagram post. The type would just be an image post. But if you're over on Instagram, you would put like multi-photo upload, or maybe it's a video that you're gonna post, or a story. Maybe I'll do a story too. Image and story, cool. Message and theme. So this is kind of where you would explain, you know, you would just remind yourself which of these marketing themes is gonna matter for. So that you just make sure you're staying aligned and not, I just want to be clear, it's okay to kind of throw stuff out there every so often that isn't in alignment with one of your marketing themes, because it's a great way to experiment, right? I wouldn't recommend creating like an epic blog post on a random topic because that requires a lot of work and investment, and you want those epic blog posts to serve a purpose. But when it comes to social media and, you know, a quick Instagram post, it's okay to test out other types of content that might be interesting to you, or maybe really on your heart, and you just feel compelled to share that, because it can create new opportunities. It gives you a chance to kind of explore what it is that you like talking about and what your audience likes hearing from you. So don't be afraid to do that from time to time. What these marketing themes are meant to do is to give you focus and intention, and it helps people to know what it is to expect from you. So, but it's okay if once in a while you're showing up with something that isn't as expected. It can actually be well received. So, planning recap. This is obviously in alignment with my planning theme. Purpose here is maybe, let's say I make the replay available to anyone who didn't show up. They just still need to, you know, opt in for it. So we'll say it's list building. And generally you're wanting to see, you know, you want to look at your goals and make sure that the purpose aligns with the goals. So here, I guess this would make sense for me to have this be list building. I want to see if people are opting in to receive the replay, because if nobody's clicking on my link to go receive the replay, then I'm testing out content, remember? So that may be a good indicator to me that people aren't as interested in planning their content out ahead of time, or at least that's not what they're interested in learning from me specifically. So I may want to do some more of these workshops to try to test more content. To be honest, I normally am pretty strategic and planned out about this kind of stuff, but I kind of just on a whim I knew that I needed to plan this. So I invited you in. I didn't honestly strategically think too much about the fact that I needed to be testing content for my mini courses. This just sort of popped into my mind and I'm like, okay, well, this works out. But like I said, when you sit down to plan the content, those thoughts sort of come together and you end up realizing maybe that you're being more intentionally realized in the moment, but it allows you to show up more intentionally throughout the entire year instead of, I'm fresh in the year and my brain is sharp and ready to go. I had a nice vacation over the holidays. So, but if it was May and I'm not being strategic and intentional about this stuff, I may get burnt out when it comes to content creation. I may go on a totally different tangent and none of it be laddering back to any goals. So it's super important. It just happened to work out that this is kind of what I need to be doing anyways at this time of the year. But I can guarantee if I continued going this way without coming up with this plan, it wouldn't have panned out that way for the entire year. So that's why it's really important that we're sitting down and doing this. Audience impact. This is about thinking about the value that you want your audience to receive from the content that you're sharing. So for me, if I'm going to do this planning recap, I want to, what do I want them to walk away with? Basically, some quick tips they can use to plan their content. Let's say I want them to understand the value of planning their content. Maybe I communicate something like what I just did, that you may get away with some great posts. You may be sharing some posts that are awesome and that are working for your business, but the more that you rely on doing that in the moment, the less you can really plan and predict and create those consistent results over time, because you can't always plan for things that are kind of come up, or if you're going to wake up and you're not going to be in the mood to post and whatever. But if you can plan ahead of time and think strategically about what makes sense to be sharing in the moment, you will be sharing things that align with your goals. So understanding value of planning ahead. And that's something that's I can super relate with my audience. And like, I don't always love to sit down and take the time to do this. It feels daunting. And yeah, when I'm at the end of my day and I do this like with clients all day, I love doing it for my clients. It's so fun. But when it comes to doing it for myself, it's not always the most fun thing to do. So I don't know why this is like spanning these three. Bugging me. I'll figure it out later. I can't. Like, I can't move forward. Text wrap, whatever. Okay, so understanding the value of planning. Like I said, it's something I can definitely relate with my audience on as well, is that sometimes it's tough to sit down and do this, but it's really important. It's really helpful for your business and for your sanity and for your growth over time as well. So call to action would be like get the link, link in bio. And I'm just going to do this to replay. Link, images, assets. I don't know what image I want to use yet. Maybe a screenshot from the workshop, like of me talking. I don't know. Maybe I'll come with something better, but for now we can go screenshot from workshop. And then links, I would need to add the add replay link. Well, I would, because I want them to be able to replay link, opt in to get the worksheet too. So I gotta figure this out. So we'll just do landing page. I don't have it set up yet, but we'll get it done. So landing page, references and sources. This is more, I don't really need the references or sources for this Instagram post, but like for YouTube, I'll be wanting to do that. So let's say, I'll use a past example for simplicity's sake. I did like a podcast episode or a YouTube video on some of my favorite podcasts for content marketing and brand development. And I shared specific episodes with people. So here's where I would list like, episode 1, episode for podcast A, episode 1. So then I could quickly reference them when either if I want to do some research or when I'm actually recording the video and I want to quickly be able to see which episodes I need to be sharing with people. This is a great place to sort of start that. So see what I mean? We're kind of planning it out. We're not getting like so into the details, or it's not going to look beautiful with like a pretty bow tied, but what we're doing is making sure that we have a strategic plan for what it is we're going to be creating. So we're not so much in creating mode, we're in planning mode at the moment. So creating mode is way more fun for me, but that's why I had to do this live with you so that I would actually do it. References, sources. This could also, something that you could potentially include in this column for Instagram is if there's like people you want to mention in a post, then that would also be a great place to put that. And then if there's any additional comments that you want to share about something like, I don't know, let's say maybe I want to include like a mock-up of worksheet. I don't know, maybe I'll just, as multi-photo upload, probably won't do that, but let's just say I did. Or maybe I want to mention more about something I want to share in the story, like, because that just a screenshot from my workshop doesn't make a ton of sense to share in my story. So maybe I'll use this comment section to kind of plan some stuff that I might want to mention if I go, if I just do my face to camera talking about how the workshop went, some insights that I personally gained or that you shared with me that you gained. Upload, and I'll just put like story plan. So that's the idea here. That's really what you can do here. So for 115, I just want to show you this quickly, that for 115 that is a Tuesday, right? I think it is. Yeah, that is a Tuesday. So I'll have a new YouTube video coming out. So here is where I'll talk about, okay, it's going to be how-to video. And then that's when it's going to be published. You could also, so I put publish date, but you also want to make sure that you're scheduling time to create this stuff ahead of time. So this, I know I'm going to be filming tomorrow, actually. I'm going to be batching some YouTube videos. So I'm going to go ahead and over the course of the next day, be planning out actually for like the rest of the month, pretty much. So 116, but I do know that every Tuesday, there's going to be a YouTube video in addition to an Instagram post. So I'll be like duplicating the dates for every Tuesday, and I'll probably like let's make that just a slightly different color so that I can see it easily. It's too dark. All right, so then I know, whoops, sorry. So I know every Tuesday is this dark gray, and that I'm planning out the YouTube video for the week as well as the Instagram post that I'm going to use to kind of promote that video. So that is the idea here. You can adjust this sheet, like I said, just copy it to your drive. You can adjust it to work for you in whatever way you want it to. But I want to show you the purpose of each of those columns. And as I mentioned before, you can remove the columns, you can add new ones in, you can do whatever it is that you like. This is just a great way to strategically plan out to get that bigger picture overview, that roadmap of where it is you're heading over the course of the next year, what you're going to be promoting, the themes you need to be covering in order to be delivering those messages to your audience that they need to be receiving at certain points throughout the year to really understand the value of what it is you offer at that point in time for them, and to encourage them, to motivate them, to educate them, and to encourage them to invest in the solutions that you offer to help them make those decisions in the most effective way possible. Your content can really be doing that. You just have to be strategic about the way that you're communicating your message through that content. So it's not about waking up every morning and just thinking, I need to post to Instagram because so-and-so said I need to post to Instagram. It's about being intentional about what you're sharing online, when you're sharing it, how you're sharing it, and who it is you're trying to reach with your message. So hopefully this was helpful. for you, I know it was really helpful for me to sit down and have some accountability when it comes to planning this stuff out. If you have questions for me, feel free to comment under this video and let me know how I can best serve you over the course of 2019. What new videos you'd love to see from me. Please feel free to let me know in the comments what other videos you would love for me to be filming in the next couple of weeks. I would love to get your opinion on that. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Check out my other quick little tutorials that I've got. I've got a whole bunch of them to help you with your brand development and content marketing so that you can grow your business online with less stress and more fulfillment in the process. So thanks again for joining me. I'm super happy that you are here. Let me know if you have questions. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'm at Ask Anne Marie Rose, and I will talk to you soon.